I know, yeah.
Along the line of the textbook thing, in recent years, I've been highly concerned about the history revisionists
Yeah.
that have got into the textbooks. And they aren't even teaching the actual American history anymore.
You know,
I mean,
it's almost like Texas.
you ask a high school kid anything about American history, and it's like, they don't know what you're talking about. If you mention anything, they say, what about this?
I grew up in Texas, and my parents finally said to school, "Are they ever going to teach American history?" It's all Texas. Texas history, year after year after year. I could tell you where everybody died at the Alamo, and I have a map for you. But this is awful. They basically revised the history of the United States right out of existence. And that is very, very hard on our people. You can't, Trump, we're not sure how he would stand on the Constitution. Like Rush Limbaugh puts it nicely, he says he's not ideological. But he's smart. And you can't make a constitutional argument that makes much headway in the political process today. You can in this room, but the people in this room are not the votes you're having a problem with. And if he were to start saying he's following the Constitution, I think most of the people in the country's eyes would glaze over. Certainly young people, they don't even know what it is. It's a problem. Yeah.
What about the climate change in textbooks?
Well, the climate change thing's interesting. The guy asked me about DDT the other day, the same problem. We're kind of well-known and well-hated by the left for this. We were asked, it just came out of the blue. I've written a couple articles somebody's seen, and so during the Kyoto meetings in 1998, the Wall Street Journal asked me to write their lead editorial on this subject, so I did. And of course, it was not in line with the Kyoto meetings, and I thought it was just an editorial, but then the environment really went after us. They started reading us out of the human race. So it got my attention, and I thought I'd do something more. And so we decided to circulate a petition, because I understood this is the game. All the scientists agree with that. Consensus, 97%. Everybody agrees. That's number one. Number two, they're on the white horses of idealism, trying to save the planet. And number three, anyone who opposes them is on the black horse of self-interest, willing to destroy the planet for profit. That's the program. But it's all based on the consensus, and I knew my colleagues were not in consensus on this. So we stopped our work for 6 months. We read every paper in this field, the entire research literature on this issue. And then we wrote a review paper. That's something scientists do. You read the field, you write a review. The rule for the review is every statement you make has to be referenced to the primary literature, 350 literature. And we put that review article in an envelope with a petition card urging the government not to do anything on this issue, not to submit to this false hypothesis. Also saying it was really good for the environment because it makes the plants and animals grow faster. And we got 17,000 American scientists and engineers to sign that petition. And this is not email, this is before email. These are physical signatures where they write their credentials down and send them back to you. And then about 10 years later, our colleagues said, your petition's getting old, so we did it again. That time we got 31,000. So they sort of hate us. But that issue it's certain. There's no question this hypothesis is false. It is wrong. It is a political animal, it has no merit in science. But it's not a good political issue because so many of the people have been brainwashed into thinking it's true. You can't, during a political campaign, teach them about it. The other issue, the one somebody asked me about, was DDT. I've written about that a lot. DDT, the man who discovered the use of DDT to kill mosquitoes and prevent malaria, the National Academy of Sciences estimated he saved 500 million lives, and he got the Nobel Prize. But then Rachel Carson wrote this book, which is full of lies. They got the political process going. The EPA banned DDT in the United States and then banned it throughout the world through their influence, their economic influence. And as a result, tens of millions of women and children in Africa have been killed by not being able to have DDT. And this whole Zika outbreak, that's a mosquito-borne disease. You wouldn't even have it if you had DDT. When I was a boy, the sound of a summer evening in Houston was the trucks going through spraying DDT in the subdivision. Because, I mean, Houston is a hotbed. So DDT saved 500 million lives. They banned it. That's cost tens of millions of lives. It kills mostly pregnant women and children. And it sickens everyone. I had the first paper I ever wrote, it was in Science, and one of my co-authors had been the chief physician for Albert Schweitzer in his hospital in Lamborghini. He told me that it was different to be a physician in Lamborghini because everyone had malaria. The doctors have malaria, the nurses have malaria, all the patients have malaria. You practice medicine, and the symptomatology of the patient was what it is in someone who already has malaria. Rachel Carson dedicated her book to Albert Schweitzer. And there's I can't quote exactly, but basically it's a quote by Schweitzer saying, these technologies, these things, may end the human race. They may be a total disaster for humanity. And she put it in there as support for her proposal that DDT be banned and so forth. The quote is actually an Albert Schweitzer quote about nuclear war. And Albert Schweitzer of DDT, he said, these mosquitoes are a terrible thing for us, but now we have hope because of DDT. And Carson dedicated the book to Schweitzer and put a quote about nuclear war in there and claimed it was Schweitzer writing on DDT. This is a terribly unprincipled thing. It has killed vast numbers. Today, it's killing several million people every year, the ban of this substance. And so if somebody said, why don't you talk about DDT in the campaign? You know what that would do? I can't teach the people about DDT in the campaign. They would, DeFazio would have another nutcase, right? So you can only say, let's say there were 20 important issues, and you want to tell the truth about all of them. Don't lie. If you lie, they become like them. There's no point in running against them. But you must pick those truths that people will be interested in, and also those that you have a reasonable chance of talking to them about. I mean, I know some of my friends spent their whole lives fighting the DDT issue. But it wouldn't do me any good to tell you the truth about it. It's okay, we'll have some fun here, but it wouldn't do any good in this election. They say I was a nut, and everybody associating with me was a nut. They're already after Trump with me because his campaign is now being run by people that helped me in previous campaigns. And so as soon as they changed campaign, they changed, to these new people 3 or 4 weeks ago, and there were national articles. Trump, now the national oil repository will be changed to the national urine repository. And they started trashing Trump because these people supported me too, and I was this nut that was gathering urine out in Oregon. And they're still doing it to a certain extent, because anything you do, they can be linked. And because these people had helped me and they were helping Trump, they started trashing Trump with our urine project. You go on the internet and find several they're really entertaining articles. They had one thing where Trump and a couple of his main people were pictured with urinals in their mouths. because there was this link. It's
I think you have one more question right
yeah.
here.